When I was a younger collector, when I was young Fanny Dantump, I never really thought about keeping products sealed, right? Like I only had so much money. I had my birthday money, my allowance, which wasn't much. I could only afford to buy a couple booster packs at a time, and I would just kind of rip into those right away. I never thought about buying a booster box or saving my money for a booster box. So I never really got to open any booster boxes until I got back into the competitive scene and the collecting scene later in my life, around the time of XY being released. Then I kind of finally got to break into some booster boxes, but I never really had the opportunity to do it when I was younger. I never thought about keeping things sealed, and that kind of continued on throughout the years. Now, over the past couple of years, with the way Pokemon has kind of launched itself, we have all these sealed collectors. A lot of people kind of entering the market, opening up some product, but also keeping them sealed for a sealed collection, because we've seen what happens, right? Sealed has always kind of risen, and going back and telling younger Fanny Dantump about keeping things sealed would have been an excellent idea, because if today we're going to be looking at Elite Trainer boxes and what the market looks like and has looked like for Elite Trainer boxes. Now, a lot of these that are in current modern sets that have come out over the past couple years, I don't think are going to be worth nearly the amount of what we're seeing from the original Elite Trainer boxes that we're going to talk about in this video here, because a lot of people are keeping these sealed. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of sealed ETBs moving forward. However, it's very interesting to kind of look at the market, because Elite Trainer boxes have done extremely well, and in many cases they're doing and performing much better than even the booster boxes that came along with that set. So I'm very excited to kind of get into that data. First of all, before we begin, welcome to the channel. What's going on, Fan Clan? Thank you so much for just taking the time to click on this video. It really means a lot to me. If you enjoy the data, please hit that like button down below. Leave a comment. It goes a long way for the algorithm. Plus, today is Thursday. That means tomorrow is Friday, and everybody knows what Friday is. It is the Danny Phantump reprint for Evolving Skies. We're giving away a booster box of Evolving Skies every single week until a reprint comes. So if you want to be entered to win that, go back to the video that I posted last week Friday, leave a like, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. Then join us tomorrow to see if your comment was randomly selected as the winner, and then tomorrow we start over again, because there's still no reprint here for Evolving Skies. So I'm excited to get into that, but first I'm really excited to get into this video here. And for this video, we're doing something a little different. We're going to use PokeData, PokeData.io. Go to that website, register for a free account. It's really cool. It gives you access to a ton of different information, a ton of different English product plus Japanese product, sealed product, things like that. One of the things I like about PokeData is it takes a lot of market information from eBay, so it shows kind of a different platform than what we usually experience using TCG Player. So just register for an account. I'm just going to kind of show you quickly what PokeData looks like. You can click into Elite Trainer Box. For this specific video here, we clicked on sealed product, clicked on Elite Trainer Box, and then you can see as you scroll down, lists pretty much all of the Elite Trainer boxes that have been printed. There is like a Plasma Blast before this, but then kind of tracks all of the Elite Trainer boxes. Let's say we click on Primal Clash, for example, and it shows you the information, shows you how many sales there have been. So this is since November of 2021. So it's a fairly decent sample size. You're looking at about 6 months here of data. There's only been 3 sold listings on eBay. So you can kind of see, if you toggle this information up here, it'll tell you the actual price points of what these sold for, or you can just use a trend graph here. So I copied all this over into an Excel document so that way we can properly look at everything. However, I wanted to showcase the website, because if you're not somebody who's currently using PokeData, it's a really great resource to use outside of TCG Player to kind of track pricing. Gives you an additional sample size of a different market than what TCG Player just gives us. So we're going to head on over to the Excel document here, but definitely check that out. I'm going to start off. I'm not going over any specialty sets because we've included that in previous videos, and I didn't want this video to get overly long, but I wanted to go through and showcase how the Elite Trainer boxes are looking. So that way, if you're somebody who decides, I want to get into a sealed collection of Elite Trainer boxes, I want to get into a master set, you can kind of understand what price point you should really be looking for and analyze any trends where you might be able to see, okay, these are starting to fall a little bit in price, but I can see the potential, I can see the possible ceiling that we can break through. So I might want to get into this Elite Trainer box at this price. That way you kind of know what you're looking for and what sets to look for. So we're starting off with Furious Fist. There's only been 4 of them that have sold over the past 6 months. So we're going back to data from November. So you can see the highest price point was $2,500. Now that's crazy expensive, way more than what a Furious Fist booster box is going for last time I checked, $2,500, and that was a recent sale. So you can see that was right around March 13th that sold. It did dive down to about $1,025, so it went down considerably. Huge price differences. That's why it's something that's kind of cool to keep an eye on, because a lot of times these are buy it now prices. So you can see, okay, well, one sold a few months ago for $2,500. This one right here is listed at $1,025. So this one actually is a really good deal, even though it's still super expensive considering the fact that MSRP hasn't changed for these. It's $40, but the likelihood of finding, a Furious Fists Elite Trainer box in store is next to nothing. So only 4 have sold, but you can see that the trend for it, for the most part, they're selling right around $1,200. There has been two outliers, it looks like, that sold for $2,500, and then it dropped back down to just over $1,000. The next thing that we're looking at is Roaring Skies. So the high price point for this one was $1,100, which is where the trend was at all the way up through November of last year, and then it kind of dipped down a little bit, where you can see it sold right above $800, and then kind of fell down to this $575 price point before starting to rise back up a little bit. But again, you're only going off of 4 sold, so these do not come available very often, nor do they come available at a price point that's attractive to collectors very often. So only 4 sold over the past 6 months, not a whole lot. Same thing with Primal Clash, only 3 of them that have sold over the past 6 months, a high point of $2,500. Again, you're looking at the end of November last year. That's when a lot of the market really started dipping down because of the massive amount of reprints, the massive amount of in stock that we had of a lot of modern products. So a lot of people started exiting the game, maybe people who are kind of looking at making money in the secondary market, things like that, really came back into the game, went from $2,500 down to $2,200, and now it's dipped a little bit more, whereas the last one that sold was for $1,825, but that was in February, so it's been a few months since the last one sold. So definitely keep an eye on that one to see. Maybe that one is something that you're looking to add to your collection. Next one we're looking at is Breakthrough. This is when you can finally start seeing ETBs that are getting a little bit less expensive, and it's going to be that way for the rest of the ones that we're looking at for the most part. Those 3 right there are really kind of outliers when it comes to this. Not many have sold, and that's the same case for like the XY Base, the Plasma Blast. Not many sell, but there are not many that are going to be out there in sealed condition, in sealed pristine condition, because like I said, a lot of people thought like what I thought, which is probably what a lot of you thought, and that's, I don't want to hold on to this. I want to open it. I'm not worried about keeping something sealed for years to come. I remember when Breakthrough ETBs were selling at GameStop for like $20. They were willing to take a loss because they had so much product on hand and so much product in general, and it just wasn't moving. But as you look now, you're looking at $281.33 for a high point, which it hit at the beginning of the year, right around January time, and then it dipped down to $167.50. It hit its low point in the middle of March. Now it's starting to rise again. There's 38 sold, so you're looking at a decent sample size, and you can see market starting to trend in the upward direction, which is really cool. Then we're looking at the Breakpoint next. So this one also showed up a lot in GameStop as like these clearance items and things like that. So you're looking at a high point of $229, which it hit in February of this year, and for the most part it stayed really close to that. You did see a little bit of a dip down to $162.50, which it hit kind of at the beginning of March. We only have 12 sold for around that price, so it's not a super popular ETB that a lot of people are looking at, but you're looking at 12 sold listings over the past 6 months or so, or over the past 4 months or so, because this is taking data from January. Your high point being just above that $200 mark, and then your low point being just above that $150 mark. Only 12 have sold. It's starting to go back up a bit, where you can find the market right around $180 now at this price point. The thing is, even though the percentage points aren't changing greatly, the dollar signs are changing greatly, because these prices are very, very expensive for a lot of these Elite Trainer boxes. Steam Siege, high point of $650. So this is a somewhat expensive Elite Trainer box, despite the fact that the set in general, a lot of booster boxes, a lot of booster packs, not a whole lot of excitement when it comes to Steam Siege. So it is a little bit surprising. Again, only 11 of these have sold, so not a huge sample size when it comes to that. Lots of these that are kind of sitting, maybe a little bit too expensive for a lot of collectors. You're looking at $355 as a low point. Kind of hit that recently, and it's been staying kind of trending in the downward direction since its high point of $650, which it hit at the end of 2021. Again, only 11 that have sold. Hidden Fates is a fun one to look at, because I do like the artwork on this one, having that Alakazam on the front of it. Very cool. And you had 50 of these sell. Again, this is a little bit better of a sample size, because you're looking at a cheaper price point. You have your high point of $325, which it actually just recently hit. You can tell it's trending in the upward direction. Its low point of $138.50, it hit at the beginning of the year and then started trending in the upward direction, whereas right now it just sold recently for $325, so definitely heading upward. Then we've got the Evolutions one. I did put both of them on here. We're going to look at the data for the Charizard one first, and then the next one is the one for the Blastoise. This is the only one where I took the data for both of them separately, because this has a bigger impact. These are a little bit more offsetting, because obviously more people are going to be drawn to that Charizard artwork just because of the collectability behind it. But you're looking at $270 for a high point, 223 that have sold. Now there's a couple reasons behind that. Number one, because it is a lot more popular. A lot of people like evolutions, a lot of people like Charizard, and you've got two of the big three right there. But also because a lot of these have popped up in Walmarts, mostly in Walmarts, I guess, where marketing companies may have sat on these for a while. They had a bunch of backstock and they started slowly releasing them into different Walmarts across the country, and people were able to find these right around that $40 MSRP mark. So they were buying them and then kind of flipping them on the secondary market right away. You had a high point of $270 in August of 2021, went down a little bit, went up a little bit. For the most part right now, it's kind of trending back up in that upward direction. We had a low point of 155 in September and then kind of went up and down and up and down, and now it's kind of trending in that upward direction again, whereas April, your most recent sold one, is just above that $200 mark. If we look at the Blastoise, kind of the same thing, a little bit cheaper when it comes to the high point, a little bit cheaper when it comes to the low point. Your low point of 110.30 kind of hit at the beginning of August last year, started going up and then saw some downward spirals for a little while, and now it's been trending in the upward direction again, where it's kind of sitting just above $200 right now for Blastoise on eBay. It's high point of 255. It hit kind of in September of last year, and now it kind of went down. Now it's kind of going back up again. But 237 sold, so a really good sample size for the Blastoise artwork. If we look at the Guardians Rising, there's been 59 of these sold, so a little bit less of a sample size here. Going back to September of last year, you can see there was a strong period of time where there just wasn't any sales. So the trend data for that is kind of showing, hey, this is right around 120 ETB because that's where you had a couple sales from. But then it started dropping down, then started dropping down, and it hit its low point of $69.99. So I don't know if some of these may have been found in the wild or what the case may have been, but I did see there was a lot of conversation about these being reprinted. Maybe some distributors got some additional stock of them where they were kind of transposed onto the secondary market at decent pricing. So it dropped down to about $70 in the middle of end of December, beginning of January, and then it started going back up. So now it's sitting right around that $100 mark. But again, only 59 of them that have been sold over the past 8-9 months now. Next up is Crimson Invasion. Not a whole lot to go with this one, except for this low point here, $23.50. So a very cheap ETB. If this is something that you don't currently have in your collection, you might want to look to see if you can find it at a decent price. Obviously, right now it's above MSRP, selling for about $65. Its high point it hit in March, then went down a little bit. But this tells me that there are some available for decent pricing. You can see some people were willing to take a loss on some of these because it was selling right around $23.50 at one point, but you can see here there's some at $30, $284. So a lot of movement on this product, a lot of them still available. So if it's something that you don't currently have in your collection, you might want to look at adding it. Then we've got the Burning Shadows ETB. Lots of these that were available. There's been 143 that have sold over the past 9 months or so. Its high point of $120, it kind of hit in the middle of January there. Its low point looks like it was hit kind of in October of 2021. It hit $67. Again, this was a product that a lot of people found at GameStop, a lot of people found at Target, kind of sitting on the clearance shelf. A lot of distributors, a lot of marketing companies kind of had extra stock and just started throwing them out there, making it for a very interesting flip for a lot of people. If we look at the Ultra Prism, this one does have a couple of additional print runs to it that kind of came out over the past year. All of a sudden, a couple of Ultra Prism ETB cases were showing up at distributorship where they were able to kind of unload those into the secondary market to help bring the cost down, which is why you have this $250 price point in August of last year, and then this giant drop after that where it went all the way down to $57, just above MSRP, and now it's kind of risen since then, where you have get rid of those outliers, and now it looks like it's kind of stabilized right around that $120 mark. But again, maybe a couple pieces that you might want to look at adding to your collection because they are getting relatively cheaper. They've been relatively cheaper. Lost Thunder, same thing. We had $88 hit at one point. That was kind of at the end of 2021 for the most part. It's gone back up. You can see it's sitting at $160 right now. 84 have sold over the past 9 months, 10 months or so, somewhere around there. So quite a few have sold. Not as big of a sample size as what you've seen from a couple of the other ones, but still a decent amount. You can see a lot of traction, a lot of movement between August and January before it kind of slowed down a little bit. So you're looking at $160, that market price really starting to correct, it looks like, and people are not willing to pay as much at that $160 price point as what they were when it was hovering right around $100. Next up, we've got Forbidden Light, which is a really really cool one to look at. I like the artwork on this one. You can see it hit its high point of $158 right at the end of March, dropped down a little bit, not a whole lot, but we've seen about as many sales as we did with Last Thunder. A lot more traction at the end of 2021. Also, it did hit a $70 price point at one point in time. That was kind of at the beginning of November. That's when you see the most traction. Then it started going back up again, and now it looks like it's sitting right around $120 again. If we look at the Celestial Storm one, another really cool one. A lot of people like this one. It did sell for $280 at one point in August of last year before going down and kind of correcting itself now. We've only got 39 of them sold, so not nearly the sample size as what we saw with the last couple. Looks like the most traction kind of held at the end of last year. Maybe people getting out of the booster box game because of all the reprints that we had and started focusing more on the ETBs. But you can see a lot of sales here that happened between November and January before it kind of stabilized off, and you can see it's kind of settled right around that $200 mark. Its low point of $162.50 looks like it hit at the end of October. Next up is Unified Mines. Mew, kind of fan favorite, so this one is expected to see a little bit more expensive price points. $349.99 is what it sold recently for at the end of March, but again, not a whole lot of sales. You're looking at only about 10 that have sold on eBay since the end of August of last year. At one point, it hit $174.50, so if you can find it from cheaper than that, that's kind of the cheapest price point that's been found over the past 8 or 9 months. But again, only 10 of them that have been sold. If we look at Unbroken Bonds, this is an interesting one because I have seen a lot of people kind of find these at those vending machines that are only really located in certain areas of the United States. But Unbroken Bonds, again, $40 MSRP, popular because of Charizard on the cover there. $362 it hit recently at the beginning of March, and there was actually a couple sales before it dropped back down, but you're only looking at 5 that have sold since August of last year, so not a whole lot of movement down that, but you can see the trends for it. $222.50 is the cheapest one that's been able to be purchased on eBay. That was at the beginning of the year. Got a couple more here for you. We're not going to go into any of the ones that were released in Sword and Shield. We're just kind of focusing on XY and Sun and Moon now. We've got Team Up, only 8 of them that have sold over the past 9 months or so since July of last year. At one point it hit $350 in the middle of August. This is a very popular set because of the contents. However, a lot of people I think are buying ETBs to keep sealed. $350 it hit at one point in July. Not too long before that, it was at $200, but it hasn't fallen back down to that point. It's been sitting right around $300, a little bit more than that over the past several months right now, but only 8 have sold since July of last year. Then we've got Cosmic Eclipse is the last one here. $350 is its height. Kind of hit that in July of last year before going down. You can see it dropped all the way down to $120. That was kind of in November, beginning of November, I would say, of 2021 before going back up where it hit all the way up to that $300 price point. It's been kind of hovering right now where the trend is setting right around $250. 29 have sold. Not a very good sample size, but not a ton of movement when it comes to a lot of these. I think that a lot of people really started realizing, hey, once Sword and Shield came out, that these are some products that maybe we want to keep sealed. So let me know in the comment section down below what you do with ETBs. A lot of people, like I said, like to open them up. Some people kind of keep them sealed for a long period of time, but they're really cool to look at if you have one of every single ETB kind of laid out in those acrylics. I've seen a lot of people kind of showcase their collection. It looks really, really cool. And this isn't even including the specialty sets. This isn't including the ETB pluses, those types of things. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Give me any comments you want because it goes a long way with the algorithm, and I really, really do appreciate it. Leave a like if you can. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. It means a lot to me. I will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, peace.